Being more productive and being more efficient with your time is one of the most important things that you can do as an entrepreneur. In this video, we're going to talk about the 8 productivity apps that changed my performance the most, and it will change your performance as well. So we're going to talk about apps like Notion, Todoist, Brainfm, and let's get into the video. Hey performers, welcome back to the channel. My name is Stefan and I'm a peak performance coach that is based in the Netherlands. I help entrepreneurs and traders optimize their health and performance so they can scale their business or their trading to the next level. But enough about that, let's get into the video. So these are the 8 apps that maximize my productivity. We're going to start with the app that I use the most, and that's called Notion. So let me show it to you. So as you can see, this is Notion, and Notion is basically where I store everything about my life, about my business. Basically just everything. So to give you an example, I actually made it the 8 best productivity apps for entrepreneurs. But when I make a YouTube video, one of the things that I do is that I have a template in here, and then I make my YouTube video based on the template. So what's, for example, the intro, what's the value I want to give, what's the outro, stuff like that. And that's what Notion is really good for, making templates and stuff like that. And for example, if you look at my live dashboard, so this is where everything is in. So here I put in like my maps, my reviews, the projects I want to do, my company performance mastery. I put in my financials, habits, routines, trackers. I just put in everything. And Notion is, you can use it for a lot. When you start using it, just take it easy, don't go too overboard with it, because when I first started using it, I was just like constantly watching YouTube videos about the best Notion template and stuff like that. And that's the thing about these productivity apps. I mean, the most important thing is that you do the work, and these things, they make sure that you can do the work in the most efficient way possible. But if you're constantly looking at videos about what's the best productivity technique or the best productivity app, then like that's procrastination. Like that's not really doing the work. So one of the most important things is just doing the work, but Notion can be very beneficial to you if you want to organize everything in your life. So you want to have one clear structure. So for example, when I start working with new clients, I have the entire process that we do from A to B to get them to the pre-performance. I have it lined up in here, so we can just go at it step by step. They have a clear overview, and that's what really helps me in using Notion. So the second app we're going to look at right now is Todoist. This is my task list manager. Other task list managers that you can use are, for example, Things3, but I find that Todoist is the best one to keep all of my tasks organized. So what I do with Todoist is that I store all of my tasks in them that I have to do, and I put a date to them. And in that way, I know like what all of my tasks are and when I have to finish them. And that's a key principle that you have to keep in mind, and that's that your brain is used for executing and it's not used for storing information. So don't think about, oh, I have to do this, I have to do that. Just put it in a Todoist, put it in something else, because then you can use that when you want to execute, but you don't have to think about what to do anymore. And that's the most important shift that you have to make, to only use your brain for execution and not use it for thinking about what you have to do or storing information. How does it look like for me? You have this map that's called Today. For me it's in Dutch, but it's all the tasks that I have to do today. So for example, I have a recurring task of checking in with my clients. I have a recurring task of taking my supplements, stuff like that. And you can, in the inbox, you can put tasks that you want to do. For example, you're working on something and you think, hey, I should still send this email out, and you put it in the inbox and then you work on it later. And when you start using it, just start using the app and then go step by step from there. So for example, I have all these projects. So I have client delivery, marketing, sales, personal stuff. When you first start using a task list manager, just use one project. Don't organize it too much. You first want to get into the habit of using the task list manager, and then you want to optimize from there. So the third app that I use is called Google Calendar. You might have heard from it. It's a very well-known app, and I use Google Calendar to plan out everything in my week. So for example, my coaching calls, the events I want to go to, when I want to work out, I use it as a sort of high-level overview of the things I want to do. And again, what I said with Todoist, you don't want to store anything in your mind. So for example, if you have a coaching call or a sales call, you want to put it in there instead of you having to think about constantly, okay, at 2 p.m. that's when I have the call. You have to put it in your agenda, because then your mind doesn't have to think about it anymore. I wanted to show you my personal calendar, but then I had to block out like personal info from like coaching clients and sales calls. So I thought, okay, I'm not really bothered to do that. Let's just show you this. So this is how Google Calendar looks like. If you're not using it yet, I would highly suggest doing it. You can also, for example, do it on paper, but what I've noticed is that it's just very easy to use the online version, because then you can use it on your mobile and you can use it on your laptop. And what I personally have done, and if you're an entrepreneur, you can do this as well. I've split out my task into 4 or 5 different categories. So the first one is client delivery, the second one is sales, the third one is marketing, the fourth one is friends and other stuff, and the fifth one is workouts. So then you have all these different colors, and then you know like when you're doing what and what kind of activity it is. So highly suggest you start using Google Calendar, because that way you can plan out your whole weeks and it gives you a lot of overview and structure of your weeks. So the fourth app I'm going to talk about today is the app called Moom. It's a tiny little app, and what it does is that it lets you resize your browsers in a very easy way. So for example, if you want to work on something on the left side and on the right side, or for example, you want to make an article and you have to find information, so you put the information on the left side and your article on the right side, then it takes some time to do this. And what Moom does is that you have a very basic keyboard shortcut, and it lets you put the browser to the right. So let's see, you can just do this, you put it to the right, or like this, you put it to the left, and in that way you can very easily manage 2 tabs. And it sounds so tiny to do this, but if you really want to work efficiently on your computer, you have to find these tiny little gains, and it will up your performance. Like if you look at a whole year, if you save 1 or 2 seconds every time you do it over a whole year, that's several minutes or several hours that you that's several minutes or hours that you save. So that's why it's important to find these tiny little tweaks to up your performance and up your productivity at your computer. So as you can see, this is my Notion template, and this is where I keep everything, and then I know what to tell to you, and I just have this clear overview. But let's get into the fifth one, and that's Alfred. Alfred is an app for your Mac, and what it does is that it replaces your Searchlight function. So it's sort of like an upgraded Searchlight function. It's way faster and you can see way more. So for example, if I want to open up Slack, or I want to open up another app, I don't have to go here, go to Slack, open it up. For example, if I want to go to Todoist, I just do this, Todoist, and I'm done. I'm there. For example, if I open Slack, I do this and I'm done. And this is just, again, what I told you in the previous video. If you can save like these tiny amount of time every time you do something, and in the end you will be way more efficient behind your computer. So a great one to add to your arsenal is called Alfred. Look it up. I'll put all the links in the description, and this will really up your performance behind your computer. So we've got 5 apps done. Now we're going into the last 3, and this one is also a very tiny one, but it makes a world of difference. It's called Bartender 4, and what it does is, normally if you would look here at the top of the screen, you see a lot of things. So your mind is very cluttered if you see a lot of things in your environment. So that's why it's, for example, also very important to have a clean environment, have a clean, for example, working station. That's something we're going into in a deeper, like a further video. But for now, just know that even at your computer, you want to have it as minimalistic as possible. So what Alfred, or what Bartender 4 does, is that it minimizes all of these things over here, so you don't have those things in your view. And it's a very tiny thing, but it makes a world of difference, because it makes sure that you have less things in your physical environment. It seems like a tiny thing, but it makes sure that you only focus on the task at hand and you don't have anything that is distracting you. So that's also a very good app to pick up if you want to become more focused. Then if we go to the 7th app, this is a great app if you want to work more productively. It's called Brainfm. Let's just go to it right now. And what Brainfm is, it's an app, or it's an application that you can use that makes you more focused. So the music can make you more relaxed, can make you more focused, and it stimulates certain brain waves in your brain that make sure that you are more productive, more focused at the task at hand. So when I do my deep work blocks, when I do I get into this flow state, that's when I always listen to Brainfm, because I know that it takes around 10-15 minutes and then I'm into full focus mode. So really pick this up if you want to listen to something that will make you more productive, because we'll dive deeper into that in a later video, but you only want to listen to music that is not distracting you. So this is, for example, music with no vocals, and it's also been tested by science to really stimulate certain things in your brain that make you more focused. So the 7th app, really pick it up, Brainfm. So then the 8th and final app that you can use to up your performance as an entrepreneur, to really make yourself more productive behind your computer, is called Freedom 2. And what Freedom 2 does is it lets you be able to block certain kind of websites during your focus hours. So for example, what I do is that I have certain websites that I have blocked always. I know these websites distract me, so let's see here, and I have other apps that, for example, I know if I'm not that focused, then they will distract me. So for example, I will play a game of chess, I will go watch the news, I will do something like that. And what happens right now is that if you go to these websites, that it blocks you from going there. So let's see an example. So the app works like this. What actually happened just now is that I put it on and it also blocked my internet. It blocked off everything, so I couldn't make the video anymore. So that's quite funny. But what it does is, let's say for example, you're working or it's the afternoon and you have a kind of slump in performance. So what do? You browse to your news site. So this is a Dutch site called AD. I go to it, and then what happens is you first see it a little bit, and then you see you are free, go do great things. And this is very good for you if you, for example, in the other videos I talked about dopamine detox. And the thing is, if you can go to these websites, get those dopamine highs, then it's very difficult to get away from it. So if you just ban it, you can't go on there anymore, then there's also no problem. So this is highly beneficial to use if you want to up your productivity, up your performance. And this has been one of the biggest game changers in my productivity that I've used. So those were the apps. Let me know what kind of apps you're already using, and if there is something that you want to use after this video. If you want to schedule a call with me, we'll talk about how you can be more productive, be more efficient, and scale your business as an entrepreneur. So book a call with me in the link below, and I'll speak to you soon.